guys and gals, it's Pete, Mindwiseman's channel, aka Maverick Outdoors, and I've come into a rather large ancient woodland which I frequent quite a bit, and come to set up on this Saturday evening. A basher. I'm trying to find somewhere really deep in the undergrowth. The main feature of this video is going to be related to a little while ago I was tagged by Jedi Knight of the Woods, and alright mate, and it was basically to do with, you know, what your goals, sort of from the beginning of 2013 there's been a tag going around, and I don't really have that much time to do tags a lot of the time because of obviously other circumstances take priority, but I thought I'd sort of include, because I'm out for the sort of 24 hours today, and just out so I can have some dirt time and just being outdoors in nature as always. I'm going to include the aspect of not necessarily goals, but I'm calling it TAO of the woods, and I'll explain what I mean by TAO, T-A-O, a little bit later. But actually I'm going to go back this way because that's where my pitch is, where I did adapt to the situation, and it's all changed around here. All the foliage seems much different. But anyway, this video I'm going to call it TAO of the Woods, and I'll explain sort of the meaning behind it and what my objectives are as to sort of outdoor activities. But anyway, I'm just going to continue to find a spot, and I'll catch up in a little while. You remember one of the last times actually I was in this part of the woods, I highlighted this trench, which is quite a good deterrent for sort of ramblers or dog walkers. And again, this is well off the beaten track. That's a prime example just there. Of a high branch that's come down, and it's created a bit of a screen from the last time I was here. So and all the undergrowth is overgrown, but there's quite a lot of fallen wood, but the terrain has really changed. Over that direction is one of the paths, but I'm more in the centre of this bit of wood, and I'm double checking for widow makers, branches, what have you, that could fall, anything that sort of can be a bit of a risk factor. So I'm assessing everything now, so I'm going to spend the next 5-10 minutes sort of double checking around. On a finer inspection, found one of my bungee cords from the last time I was here on this bit of branch work that I could use to put things on and just utilise it if I needed to. Obviously if I was going to be here for a longer time. There's a faithful old bungee cord. Some of the foliage has changed so much, and obviously the foliage has come through on the trees, the branches, so of course it just creates a different sort of aspect, but all sort of around here just got a different feel to it. Anyways, I'm going to continue to double check the branches and anything overhanging, but it looks as if there were any deadfall, I'm sort of out of the trajectory, so to speak, of anything that looks iffy. I mean, if it was that much of a gamble, I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't take the chance, but it seems to be okay, so I'm just going to continue with that and then show you just briefly how I've sort of packed my rucksack. Okay, in the lid of the rucksack I've got my poncho cum shelter, which is zipped up in this bag, but actually this bag, when you turn it inside out, the poncho comes actually out of it, so this then becomes a pocket to the poncho, so that's all stacked in there. I've then also got the waterproof cover, so if it chucks it down, don that over the rucksack, and then I always carry my emergency flag, and just extra plastic bag for sundry duties, for whatever I need. In this side zipper pouch I've got antiseptic wipe solution rather, a little stick torch, head torch, folding saw, These are bicycle bands, go on your wrists or your ankles or around your arms. So if I need to sort of put a marker on a tree, that's reflective in the dark. And then the first aid kit just in there. And then in this side pouch, I've got my pocket rocket stove. Always put a bit of tissue in the lid so it stops it from rattling around and making a noise. Then I've got the gas canister, and then underneath that, just down the bottom there, I've got small binoculars, more a 510, and if I need it, if the breeze were to kick up, but I don't think I'm going to get any breeze around here. That's the stove protector to protect it from any breeze. So that's all in that side pocket. Just loosen the main straps, nicely secure. That's my shelter kit in here, so I'll just drag that out. But then in this front pocket here, I've got my mess tin. Right, dog food, dog treats, which has also got some stuff that I'm going to cook up from. But in there, I've got my stainless steel mess tin because I'm going to do a fry up tomorrow, so I want more surface space so it cooks easier. To be perfectly honest, one of the main contributing reasons as well, besides doing the TAO of the woods aspect of the video, is that I want to cook up a breakfast outdoors on a Sunday morning, whether it's raining, but I think the weather's going to be mild because it feels quite close at the moment, so that's another objective, bringing that. But I've got a round of sandwiches in there, cheese and ham sandwich in there, which has always been kept cool in the stainless steel container, so I'm going to have that snack with a brew once I've set up my shelter and I've got everything sorted. And then later on when it's dark, I'm going to enjoy actually cooking up some food, which I'll be able to highlight in a little while. But back to the rucksack. In this lower section here, you have actually seen me feature this before, I think it was last year, when 4 bushties went into the woods when I went with Animal Tendencies, Funky Prepper and Roach. And I did actually sort of aspect this a little bit, but in there I've got my body warmer in a stuff sack bag that I made myself, but more about that later. Got my sleeping bag, got some a little bit of clothing, got my microfiber towel, some wet wipes, so all my sort of sundry sleep and clothing gear is in that part, which is separate. It's got a pull string cord in there that separates it from this main part of the body here. So it's got like a drawstring separation section like that down there. But just inside here, loosen this up. The bottom of this area is my white food box. Then on top of that, got my mug, biscuit box, kettle, other sundries, water, and a convenience bottle. So if it's raining during the night, I don't have to go and get wet, and I can relieve myself in this little bit of kit. I'll tell you, it's well handy. Alright dog, oh, you're getting a bit restless. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to set up my shelter and have my snack, knock up a brew, and hopefully if there's some light I'll try and film that as well, or maybe do some stills. So catch you in a little while. Oh yeah, time in the outdoors. It's going to be a good one. Okay, it's coming up to about 9:30 in the evening, well at night. As you can see, it's dark. I had a sandwich and a drink a bit earlier, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock up some pasta and some tuna with some sweet corn. Get a little bit of basher light. I've used one of those, that little tubey torch. It's reflecting on the panels on the inside of the wind guard of the stove. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some of this food out of this box. I've got some these I'm going to toast. They're sort of like bread thins, but you'll see them when I do them for breakfast in the morning. Just little confectionery chocolate bars. In there I've got, in the foil, I've got some sausages and some bacon for tomorrow. Just over here, oh yeah, and 2 eggs with those toasted, and some butter, oil. But this is what I'm going to make for my late night meal. It's pen pasta with red peppers and a sort of tomato sauce. But also going to heat that up. It's already cooked. And then here I've got a piece of tuna that's in red pepper and tomato sauce as well. So those will go really well together. And then tin of sweet corn. I'll use a majority of that, but anything left over, I'll let Karsh have it for a treat. She's had some of her dry food, but I'll let her have some of this as well. Just the thing about these pre-cooked bags of sort of pasta meals, as I said, it's got mushroom in it as well, creamy mushroom, red pepper sauce with pen pasta, which is like the tubes, which you can just see underneath the base of the container. The packet, but these are sort of long life, they don't need refrigeration. But the thing is, if I was to cook this up dry, and it was sort of dry in a container, and I was going to boil it up with water, I'd have to obviously carry the water as well. So really, as far as sort of carrying weight and things like that with your food, i.e. meaning, you know, your food being your weight. So if this was dry pasta, I would also need to carry the water to boil it up, and I'd need actually much more water than actually this that's already pre-cooked. So if you can imagine this weight, but if it was dry food and then the water to cook it while out on the trail, then I'd actually be having to carry more weight, because if this was dry I'd actually obviously need more water by the time it soaks up and boils it. So, you know, all in all, it's lighter to carry sort of a pre-made, pre-cooked bit of food. Plus, well, it's convenient as well, saves time. But anyway, I'm going to knock this all together in the old stainless steel mess tin. Guess what? Yummy. Okay, so I've emptied it all in the mess tin. You can see there's a sweet corn. I'm going to mix it up a bit better. But it's looking good, and it's definitely going to taste good. I'm just going to knock it up on the, again, I've backpacked lightweight today, so with a little butane gas. Don't know if you can hear that, or a temperamental deer. There's some right rip-roaring noises going on in this woods tonight. Barking, shrieking foxes, and also temperamental roe deer. Sounds like something out of a haunted woods. It's a bright, sunny Sunday. Good morning. Sunday the 29th of September, and I'm just going over to the basher now. Had a good night's kip. Slept in what I'm wearing here. Norgie shirt. The thin first layer. And on top of the 120cm mat. And the 2-season tropical sleeping bag that Karsh is now using for a bed, aren't you? Eventually settled about 1 in the morning, and there was a few sort of downpours of rain, very, very light showers. But anyway, this kept me dry. Brought the net in with me just in case I couldn't go, or should I say locate myself here where I wanted to be, sort of right in the middle of the woods. And if I was a little bit more exposed, then obviously it's good to have the camo netting, because I just like the solitude. And actually it worked, because my back is to my basher and over that direction, just literally there, 2 young lads, obviously bushcraft enthusiasts, sort of came round, meandering round, looking at some bark, and then came over this way, went back over that way, and then just disappeared off into that distance. There must have been about maybe 15, 16. One of them had the obligatory leather sort of bushman's hat. It was pretty good, but I laid low. Karsh actually growled a little bit and she looked over that way. So I thought obviously somewhere in that vicinity there's something going on. But I could tell by the way she reacted that it was actually a person or some people. So anyway, so I laid low underneath here like this, and just looked out, and the lads walked across, and they didn't even see us. So Karsh, normally I get her to sit on my lap and then sort of just stroke her and just tell her to be quiet, and then she won't react or do anything else until I sort of give her instructions to do so. So she reacts to, you know, whatever's going on. Obviously if she was to sort of carry on growling, it would make a noise and obviously get whoever's attention. So it was all quiet, and anyway, so stealth rules. The fixings are similar to when I did the review on the Dutch Army bivvy bag, but obviously a different location. 2 bungees, and then that to this end, that's going straight across, and again it's the same setup. Bungee round there, fixed onto the tarp on both upper length ends, and then of course taking that bit, there's a loop actually already on this MTP Army issue tarp, and then bungeed up to there. Once again, as you've seen in some previous videos, I like the lean-to if I'm setting up. Also I like to sit and have a bit of headspace. So yeah, this did the job, and it's still doing so, because I want to knock up some brunch in a mo. So there's me cooking kitchen just there. Okay, what are my goals in the realms of bushcraft or outdoor activities? Well, goals as such, maybe for me personally, it maybe isn't the right word. It's sort of objectives, things I want to continue to do. Like, as I've said many times before, you know, all the things that I do, I'd be doing anyway, even if YouTube didn't exist. But like today, my goal as such, was it a goal? Was to come out last night, come into the woods and just be outdoors, dirt time, just the things a lot of people like to do, like us bushcrafters, outdoors activities. I and just being in nature, just being in the great outdoors. And it's actually to be in the moment in a place like this. And the reason why I call it TAO, it's I won't go into the real whys and wherefores and the sort of in-depth information as to the history behind it, but some of you might know Taoism is a Chinese philosophy, way of thinking. Some people might call it a religion, call it what you want, sense of spirituality, but it's more of a sense of identity. And Taoism is basically, in a nutshell, is relating and being in connection with nature and being in harmony with the seasons, with life in general and your environment. So I don't want to sort of get into a big discussion as to you know, what Taoism is about. Just for me personally, I wanted to sort of title part of this video and some of the content of this video what is personal for me, of just this is sort of a way of life. It's a way of being, it's being outdoors to experience things. So rather than actually being a goal, it's more of a sort of an objective of just doing things that I like to do anyway, and I think a lot of people watching this video can relate to. To sort of put it in perspective a little bit more, any of you that have studied or practiced martial arts like karate, kung fu, anything, the Japanese version of Tao is Do, D-O. So judo, karate do, it actually means what you're doing, participating in your activity. It becomes a way of life, it becomes part of you, you're not separate from it, and when you can actually do that, you actually evolve within that subject even broader. As I say, I don't want to go into the in-depth sort of big discussions and comments as to what Taoism is, what it is, and what Do is, what it isn't. That's just a summary. I mean, I've studied it, the subject, for a long time, being a martial arts instructor and personal trainer for 15 years, and then prior to that I was involved. I like the discipline of it, I like the individual independent approach to it was down to you what you did and how you did it, and it's the same sort of approach really to sort of being in the outdoors. So I sort of see it as a way of life. I don't separate it as a sort of an academic subject. Of course there's things that we can all learn, and if there's something that I come up against as a challenge and I have to find out new information, then of course that will be a goal, to find out things that I don't already know or I'm not sure of. So it's call it the way of the bushcrafter, the way of the outdoors person. Any sort of outdoor activities that you do or you're interested in, and I suppose the goal, if you want again call it a goal, is actually just to continue with that sort of attitude and approach, and it actually being part of my lifestyle for me personally. Although saying all of that, you know, I actually do have some goals that you could say are indirectly or directly linked to, you know, outdoor activities and what I do, and things that, you know, I sort of cover on my channel, and that is keeping in physical condition, you know, sort of fitness, health, well-being, that sort of thing. But when I was younger I had a problem with my leg and my foot, and doctors said that I'd never be physical, I'd never have sort of athletic abilities, that sort of thing, and I proved them wrong. So anyway, and I say I've always been interested in sort of physical pursuits, physical challenges, and that's why again this November with my friend Dave, who I've nicknamed Mountain Goat, who some of you might have actually seen, that I've included in some previous Brecon Beacon videos, and mentioned him. In November we're going to be doing Brecon Beacons again, going up the highest peak, and then one night staying. Ooh, you might hear some shotguns in the distance. There's a farm about just nearly a mile away from here, so I'm safe here because there's no firing or guns allowed at all in this area. So if you do hear the odd bang go off, you know what it is. But anyway, back to Brecon. Yeah, one of the nights we're planning on pitching up in one of the valleys, in one of the vales, or the lees, should I say, of some of the highest points up there, doing an overnighter. So it's like open ground, so it's totally different from a place like this. and experience it there. And then we're going to go south of the Brecon Beacons to a different part of the terrain of that sort of area, which has got all the waterfalls and does have some woodland and forest. And then we're going to pitch up another overnighter the following night there. So it's going to be 2 overnighters and 2 days trekking up on the peaks and then down into the waterfalls and the forests. Now that's a lot of physical exertion, a bit of endurance, and also considering my leg, I've got to keep my leg in condition. So recently, I mean, I still keep training all the time, but recently some of the training that I'd need to do for that sort of physical pursuit, going up Brecon Beacons or anything similar to that, I need a certain sort of conditioning. So I suppose the goal that I've got and that I have had recently is to maintain, and if not, make sure that my physical abilities are going to be ready for that trek and event, the 2-dayer that I'm going to be doing with Mountain Goat. Reason being is he's just full of perpetual motion. He just never stops. He can sort of just disappears and he's there while everyone else is halfway up the hill, you know. But he's a good guy to be with, good motivator. I've known him for a long time and we're both looking forward to it. But I know I've got to do a little bit more training so that that I'm going to be able to do it the way that I want to do it. I mean, I could do it tomorrow without a problem, but I want to do it so I'm in a better condition. So that is a goal, a real objective goal, because I'm sort of setting out to make my physical condition as such in a better condition than what it is at the moment, albeit I maintain, you know, a good physical condition, because if you don't use it, you lose it. And you know, when we're in the great outdoors, it's important to have, you know, a conditioned body and mind, because you know, when push comes to shove and we have sort of endurable challenges, maybe when we're in the outdoors, that can make all the difference. You know, if your fatigue breaks down, then it can make you feel demoralised and all that sort of thing. So yeah, that's a goal, so to speak, because that's a goal that I'm setting for. But as far as sort of my outdoor activities, it's just continuing to do it. And maybe continuing to do it is the goal. But it's a bit like, you know, when you walk up and down the stairs, your goal isn't to, right, I've got to go down the stairs, or, oh, I've got to go upstairs to whatever room that you're going up the stairs to. You just put one foot in front of the other and you don't even actually think of it. You just do it because it's natural, it's instinctive, and you get upstairs or you get downstairs without really thinking about it because you've done it. And it's like that, really. Maybe I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but you know, I try to look at things outside the box, and I like to sort of explain things or put things in perspective in a much more of a broad-minded aspect. Because remembering, there's never just one way to do something. You know, there's always different varieties, personal choices. You know, sort of horses for courses and all that. So yeah, so that's put in perspective a little bit with this sort of tag. I know in the past I've had some tags I just haven't had the chance to do, or else they've been relative to a bit of kit or equipment that I don't really utilise or I might not use. But there was one a little while ago, well actually I think it was last year, Meet the Bushcrafter, and a couple of people tagged me on that and I just didn't get round to doing it. So this sort of summarises it a little bit as well, sort of Meet Pete, Mindwiseman, aka Maverick Outdoors, cheers. Yeah, where you just sort of puts in perspective and you just get a little bit of a personal approach or an individual input from that specific person, like myself, that's sort of explaining this. So I hope it sort of gets a bit of a perspective for you. So my objectives are just to continue doing what I'm doing, experience the moment where I go out on the rivers, canoeing, another shotgun, yeah, canoeing, bushcrafting, prepping. It's just to continue doing those things. So if I'm going to think of an exclamation mark goal, I suppose if there is a goal, it's to keep maintained physically, so I can still continue to do these physical activities. So I suppose that's my main goal really, is to be able to do what I do in the great outdoors, to do all the things that I video, as I say, that I'd be doing anyway. To the sound of shotguns. When I do the Brecon trek up on the highest peaks and then down in the vales of the forest and the waterfalls, which will be a totally different experience from being up on the sort of big barren ground, big hills, and there's nothing there. You know, there's no tying up a hammock, or, you know, it's going to be real down and hard graft up on the high peaks, sort of pitching up basher. I must maybe use my mountain tent. It'll be the first time I've used it. I've had it for ages but not used it yet. So that's a goal. Yeah, that's a goal, is to maybe use my mountain tent. But I will be videoing that. So if that all goes ahead, prospective to do it, providing circumstances and it's convenient for both of us to do it, it's going to be sometime in November. Although he's going up there with his brother in about 3 weeks' time, 2 weeks' time, I think, the beginning of by the middle of October next month, and I was offered to go, but I think I'll give that a miss because I've got other things as well lined up during October. Plus as well, I'd want to keep up with him, and at the moment the strength in my legs needs to be just boosted a little bit, so but I'm looking forward to November, so look out for that one. I suppose one thing, reflecting on it, thinking about it actually, a goal would be to, you know, I do all my stealth, the bashers, that sort of thing, because I like the solitude. I like just being away from, off the beaten track, and if people go by they don't see me. Makes me sound as if I'm anti-sociable, but I'm not. Far from it. I'm one of the most sociable people you can come across. But I like my me time, I like my time out. But there's one thing, I suppose, I must admit, would be to help with that stealth and solitude, was if I could actually morph myself to be invisible. And that's, I think, the next goal that I'm going to try and work for, is to sort of not just blend in with into my environment with my kit, like here, with all the drab colours and the foliage designs, but is to, you know, maybe work on real sort of techniques, which is maybe something I'll have to study to make myself invisible. So I'm kidding, I'm joking. No, I'm just pulling your leg. It'd be good though if we could be invisible. Jedi mind tricks. Jedi mind tricks. You cannot see me as you walk past. You cannot see me as you walk past. You've got to have a bit of fun and frolic sometimes. So anyway, I hope that's put things in perspective a bit, and sort of sharing this overnighter and then being outdoors with you in this video. So as always, thanks for watching. Always appreciate your interest, taking time to view the videos, make comments. As I always endeavour to eventually reply to all the comments. So anyway, thanks for watching. Be out there, be safe, enjoy your TAO, whatever it may be, and I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers, take care.